Hey, welcome to Coinfinity. Today I'm going to walk you through how to do some fuzzy skin on these stackers. Print a couple sets of them, so let's try that out. So I got some stackers here on my plate. This is the 17 tube and cap, and so I'm going to need to stand them up, put them auto. That's the orientation we want to print them in. And then to do so we really don't need any other settings. I mean, everything's pretty good, right? 0.2 layer height. It's all good. The only other thing I normally change is I make the seam in the back so it doesn't end up right here on the front. But when we do the fuzzy skin, it kind of hides it anyway, so not as important, but we'll still put it in the back. So let's do that, and then the only other thing we need to do is go to others here. You can see fuzzy skin. Notice this one says none allow paint. So we do want to do that. We can paint it, but check out the difference. So if I put on contour and let's slice it. So the problem here is that we end up with fuzzy skin on the badge slot and the twist lock. And this is always how I thought fuzzy skin worked, and I could never use it because we didn't obviously want that. But you can actually paint with fuzzy skin, and I didn't know that. So I found that out recently. Let's go back and I'll show you how to do that. So where's here we go, fuzzy skin. So we'll just say none, allow paint. And then notice if we slice it now, there's no fuzzy skin, it's just regular. So let's paint the fuzzy skin now. It's pretty easy. So you just go to prepare, and once this is set to none allow paint, then you come up here to this one, fuzzy skin painting. Click it, and then all we want to do is go to fill, and we're gonna hit this right here, the outer body, and you can see it outlines the slot and the top part. So it'll put fuzzy skin in like everywhere where it's purple, which is exactly what we want. So it's amazing. If I hit escape out of this and let's slice it now. There, so you can see we have like a fuzzy skin on the outside, but the badge slot and the twist lock are untouched. So I really like this. This really gives the stackers an awesome feel. It gives them kind of a tactile feel, makes it even more unique. You know, this is kind of impossible to do with injection molding, so it sets them apart even more. So we do the same thing on the cap. Click on the cap here, let me get to prepare, and then fuzzy painting, fill, and just click on the outside. That's it. Slice it, and you can see the outside has fuzzy skin and the inside does not, and the top surface does not. It shows it on the bottom here, but no, see, it's just the regular bottom. It'll be the texture of the build plate, you know. So awesome. So we still need to do our magnet layer. We'll come down here, find the spot. Let me go layer by layer here. So right there is the layer. So at the layer it closes, we'll add the pause, and I will print those. I'm going to add a few more to the list. Let's just do that real quick, might as well since we're here. Once we've done the fuzzy skin, it'll just copy to these, so I can copy it out to these. And let me grab one more. Alright, so I went and got the 22 millimeter stackers. Stand them up, just rotate it a little bit, that front facing forward, and then let's move the cap and do an auto on that. There we go. All right, and then we want to paint these ones as well. So if I click fuzzy skin painting on the body, that's it. Escape, click on this one, fuzzy skin, click the body, that's it. Now one other thing, once I get this last one on here, let me put two more. Is once you've painted all the skin, you can kind of go back and modify the settings. So if we grab the whole thing, and then you come down here. So I do like to change the distances here. I actually use the lowest setting possible, so it's 0.05, and so both of those 0.05. And if I slice it, you can see, there we go. And let's run it up a little bit. There, you can see it's just a really fine texture, fuzzy but not so crazy fuzzy, and I really like that texture. It leaves a nice surface on it. So one other thing I noticed there when we were looking was the magnet layers didn't seem to align. See right there, this 22 looks like it adds the magnet a little bit further up the chain, so right there, whereas the ones on the left added it earlier. And the reason for that is these, the ones I have in here, I believe use the smaller magnets. So see, these are smaller. And so that's why. So we're gonna have two pause layers here. One is gonna be for the ones on the left. We'll insert the small 12 millimeter magnets, and then when we get to right here, we'll add another pause, and here we'll insert the 25 millimeter magnets and the caps. Of course, these both need caps because it's It's pet G. And then that's it. So then it'll continue to print the rest of the bodies. And we'll have some nice stackers. So 6 hours, 40 minutes. Pauses are like in an hour. I have more time than that. So, that'll finish at like 2 a.m. Let's put some more on there. Let me make this 3 of each. Just get them all on there. And then it'll already have the skin because we copied it. And so let's try that. Let me save it. Alright, I saved that. So let's slice it. Alright, so there we go. We should be ready to print now. And if you notice when it does the fuzzy skin, it still shows notice it moves the seams around. So all the little white dots represent the seams. And so they're no longer really aligned on the back like they were. They're kind of scattered around. I would say though that these ones, the seam is aligned in the back, and that this one's more random. So let's change that. Let's click on those 3. Let's just do all of them, I guess. And make sure if we go to quality, the seam is aligned in the back. There. So let's save that again. Slice it. Alright, so about 10 hours. I could go for 12 hours. It'll be all overnight. It's 8 p.m. This will be ready about 8 a.m. if it's 12 hours. That'll be perfect. So let's add a few more here. Probably just one more of each. Add another cap. Put these in a little group. Another stacker. And then the same over here. Keep them separated. They're different sizes. We can tell them apart anyway. But if they were the same, you want to keep the caps at the bottom and the tubes at the top so you can tell them apart, because at layer 17 or whatever, when it puts the magnets in, you really can't tell any difference. Alright, let's save that. Slice it again. That should be about 12 hours, I think. Yeah, 13. Alright, that's perfect. It'll be done at 9 a.m. So take a quick peek. Everything looks like it's got some fuzzy skin. Nice. Alright, looks good. So I'm going to use PetGHF for this. Looks like I need to go update the filament. It actually has PetG in it, but I didn't update the printer, so I'll go do that, and then I'll start this print. And I'll try to record it when I do the magnet layer pause, just to get that on video again for you. So, alright, I'll see you then. Alright, here we are at the magnet layer. The right magnets for these. So let's see what I got here. I think these ones that I have were too big. These were the ones, originally they were from the bamboo. So those might actually work. They're a little small, but I could just glue it so they don't rattle. And they're the right height, so that's good. The ones that it used were these. These are the ones that, but I only have 3 of them. These are the ones that originally I was using. They don't sell these anymore in the maker world part stuff, so I can't buy these anymore. So I do have these. I'll have to rework this 17 stacker to fit these. These are pretty common, or I'll have to look on Bamboo's site and see if they have new magnets that I can use. But either way, the challenge here is we want to make sure that these match the polarity of, all the other stackers, not just mine, but all the others. And so these are the magnets we use in these, and this hole represents the North Pole. And so if I get these, so this is north. So I just need to tag these somehow so I know. So I'll just write on them like an N. So I just write like an N on them, and I go down the stack and write that on them so that I can keep track of which side is which. Because, if you mess it up, they'll actually repel each other. We don't want that. So let me write on a few of these. We need, 8? Alright, that's 8. And then we're going to need our magnet caps. Let me find my magnet caps. There, I just put stuff away. Where's the last drawer I look in? Alright, so these are the smaller magnet caps. They fit on these once we get the magnets in there. Let's do it even though we got the small ones. With my super glue here. And when you put super glue on these, man, you really need to ventilate the area, because the heat of the build, I don't know, it just gasses you out. It's pretty strong. So let me turn on a fan. Alright, we are ventilated. So I'm just gonna put a tiny dab of super glue in each of these, like so. And that's it. And then caps are on the front, the tubes are in the back. So we do the north, the tube have the north ones pointing up. So we'll put these up like that. And then super glue. And then we just flip them all over to go to the caps. And man, that stuff starts getting to your eyes. So I got all those in there. And then I like to put just a little bit of the build plate glue in there to keep the caps from blowing off when the part fan comes around. Just for that next layer at least, but just put a little bit, tiny bit of that build plate glue. And then we'll add the caps. And these caps are to make it so that the PETG actually sticks. PETG doesn't stick very well to these magnets. And so you'll end up with a mess on top of these. But if you use the caps, it's perfect. You get a nice perfect surface to, to lay down new filament on, and it's a nice flat layer, and it works out perfectly. All right, so there we go. All those are on. We'll resume, and then I think it was just a couple layers. These ones will pause, and we will be back then. Resume. All right, see you in a bit. Hope you enjoyed that little time lapse to cover up those magnets. So we got layers. The second pause here. The same thing, we'll put a little super glue in these holes. Just a drop. It says not really to stick it, it's just to make sure it doesn't rattle if there's any airspace left in there. Alright, got those in. So now let's get the magnets. So remember, the hole goes up on the tubes and down on the caps. Alright, there's the 4 up. And pay no attention to the magnet writing on that magnet. That was before I realized that the holes meant north. So I wrote on them all. All right, now let's do a little build plate glue. All right, and now let's put the magnet caps on. Put them on better here in a second. All right, let's snap them on here. I like to just get it on there and give it a little twist. Get it to adhere to that glue a little bit. Make sure it's all seated. Yeah, there we go. All right, I'll resume this and see you in about 10 hours. It'll be morning time. I'm gonna go to bed here, but these will be done in the morning. Should be awesome. Some fuzzy stackers. All right, these stackers are done. Let's see doesn't focus very well, but you can see the texture on those. A little fuzzy skin. This PETG gets a little hairy. You can see the fuzzies. It's good to hit it with a heat gun just to get all that stuff off. But yeah, looking good. Get these all off here and cleaned up. Awesome.